What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Yoda, where we're data-driven and prospect-focused. I am Draft Yoda himself, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and today we're talking about one of the biggest wild card quarterbacks in college football this season, Indiana quarterback Josh Hoover. I've currently got him rocking a 9.15 grade in my 10-point scale, making him my number 19 overall prospect, but number 5 quarterback, behind, honestly, some of the biggest names in the sport. Honestly, Josh Hoover might be one of the more underrated quarterbacks in America, because when people talk about top quarterbacks, they usually talk about arm talent, they talk about athleticism, they talk about the highlight throws. What they don't talk about enough is processing. And I think that's where Josh Hoover separates himself from the pack. This is a quarterback who sees the field at an elite level. He's a quarterback who understands defenses and a quarterback who consistently puts himself in the right position before the ball is even snapped. And now he's taking over an Indiana program that he just transferred to that is a playoff contender. And honestly, one of my 10 national championship contenders. Josh Hoover's, he wasn't always viewed as a future superstar. Coming out of high school in Texas, he was productive. He was very productive. I think he had nearly 10,000 career passing yards in high school. Um, over 100 career touchdowns. It was really good. But recruiting services didn't see him as a future elite quarterback. They had him as a 3-star. And I believe Hoover has spent his entire time in college trying to prove them wrong. He initially committed to Indiana, flipped to TCU when Sonny Dykes arrived. He redshirted his 2022, and then, exploded onto the national scene. His first career start was against BYU, and it was historic. 400, I think it was 499 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. And he was one of the more productive quarterback debuts I've seen in recent memory. And I don't think it was a fluke. I think it was a preview. I think the production speaks for itself. Nearly 4,000 yards passing in 2024, 27 touchdowns, won his bowl MVP, had another outstanding season in 2025, nearly 30 touchdowns, more than 3,400 passing yards, and again was one of the more productive quarterbacks in the country. And now in 2026, he's the active FBS leader in career passing yards, and he's going to a team where he has more talent at wide receiver than he's ever seen. First, the thing that jumps off the page when you do your evaluation with him, it's going to be his processing. It is elite. He consistently identifies pressure before the snap, understands coverage rotations. He manipulates defenders with his eyes better than I've seen some pro-level quarterbacks do. He works through his progression quickly but smoothly. He works through his progression without looking rushed. And when you watch him play, you see a quarterback playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And I want to focus on the eye discipline as part of that, because a lot of quarterbacks stare down their targets. Hoover doesn't. You'll see it a lot if you watch more athletic quarterbacks like Nico Iamaleava does this quite a bit. He will stare down a target, especially if it's a throw or run situation. Nico does that quite a bit. Hoover doesn't. He moves safeties with his eyes. He manipulates the leverage. He creates throwing lanes before they exist by looking players open. That's an NFL level trait. That's an NFL level talent. Okay. And he's able to anticipate, which might be one of the most important traits for a modern quarterback. Hoover often throws receivers open. He doesn't wait for the separation, he anticipates it. And when he's in a timing based offense, his wide receivers are going to love him. The Cincinnati game comes to mind. 19 completions on 22 attempts, over 300 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 87% completion percentage. That is a quarterback. That's not athleticism. That's not scrambling. That's quarterbacking. He's reading everything. He's processing it, and he's delivering it on time where it needs to be. The ball consistently goes where it needs to be. And it's as simple as that. And I think that's something that NFL scouts are going to love the more they watch him and the more they get to see him with talent like he hasn't had previously. And I think that's why Indiana is a perfect fit for him and where things are going to get interesting because Indiana built a playoff contender. And he's transferring in. Indiana knows exactly what it wants from its quarterback. They want quick decisions. They want efficient football. They want smart quarterback play. Guess what? Josh Hoover fits that bill completely. He's almost a perfect fit for what they want in Indiana. And if Indiana continues winning, which I think they will, Hoover stock is going to explode because of it. Now, I've said in every single one of these, nobody's perfect. My biggest concern is his arm strength. It's not bad, but it's not elite. Certain intermediate throws tend to float a little bit. Some of the outside the number throws are a little bit of a struggle for him. And in the NFL, those windows close very quickly. And that's something that, we're going to have to monitor as scouts and as people watching this film. But they said arm strength was a concern of a couple other quarterbacks, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to put those tags on him. But they've said this before about arm strength and quarterbacks, and those quarterbacks have gone on to win a lot of games in the NFL. Second concern with him is his frame. He's roughly 6'2", around 200 pounds, which makes me wonder, can he stand up to the NFL punishment? And I think it's a fair question. If they're able to put a couple more pounds on him in Indiana, that'll be awesome. I think personally, I'd rather have him around 210, 215, but that's just me. My third concern is probably his biggest issue. It's turnovers. 13 interceptions in 2025, and he had several turnover-worthy throws that just weren't picked. And it's very noticeable that when his base breaks down, bad things happen. His motion gets too long. His decision-making becomes more aggressive, and that's when mistakes appear. The one game that sticks in my mind, if you're looking for the negative about Josh Hoover, is the Arizona game. 2 interceptions, 6 sacks. Not great. It was a bad outing for him. But I think Josh Hoover is a fascinating case study for my algorithm and how it's built year in and year out, because he has physical tools, but they may never be elite. But he is a quarterback that can play the position, and he's able to process, anticipate, and lead a team and be productive far, far better than some of the other quarterbacks you're going to see after him. Sometimes we fall in love with what quarterbacks could be. Josh Hoover reminds us to appreciate the quarterbacks that we already know what they are. Josh Hoover is the type of guy that I could see really thriving in like a 49ers organization, um, where I don't have to be the most talented quarterback on the field. I mean, I don't have to be the most talented player on the field. I just have to be the quarterback that gets it to the talented player. That's the kind of offense and the type of quarterback Josh Hoover's going to be. Um, and as long as, financially speaking, you can keep him from being top money quarterback, you're going to be able to build teams around him. Josh Hoover is the type of guy that can come in, and as long as he keeps his head about him and does things the right way, doesn't take too much money, can be your quarterback for 12, 15 years, and never really be that guy that we're sitting there debating if he's the best in the league, but he can be the guy that's consistently gets you to playoffs, consistently winning you games, and consistently keeping you in the hunt for a Super Bowl. Um, can he climb into the top four? Well, I think that's the question that I'm going to get asked. And he can absolutely climb. Um, he's one of the most important quarterback evaluations in college football this season to me. He's already productive. He's already experienced. He already proven that he can throw thousands of yards. He can throw touchdowns. But now that he's with high level talent, if he can truly show that he can curb those turnover numbers and even show just a little bit more arm strength, he can climb the board. He really can. The opportunity is there. Question is, can he take advantage of it? You know? But that's my grade on Josh Hoover. It's a 9.15 out of 10. My number 19 overall prospect. A number 5 quarterback. One of the smartest quarterbacks in college football. I think he's a true future NFL player. And I think Indiana may have found another transfer quarterback capable of leading them in the playoff conversation. His arm isn't elite. His frame isn't ideal. But he is an outstanding quarterback. And he's outstanding at quarterbacking, which is what I want a quarterback to do. Which then that makes him one of my favorite evaluations in this class. But that's just my board. Do you think I've got Josh Hoover overrated? Do I have him underrated? Do you think he's another transfer quarterback for Indiana that can, take them in a playoff run? Where would you have Hoover ranked in the quarterback situation? Drop your thoughts and comments down below. As always, if you've enjoyed these player evaluations, we build them around film and analytics. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, because we're going to keep putting in the work. I'm Draft Yoda, Bill Workman, your favorite draft nerd's favorite draft nerd, and we'll see you next time.